Excuse me. Oh, mm. Your photo's so funny.
And we're
This is Patriot Sentinel, where truth doesn't whisper, it roars. Hosted by Richard Tortorello, we're cutting through the noise to talk government, politics, fairness, the Constitution, community, and God. Stand up, speak out. The watch begins now.
good evening. We're Richard Tortorella. We've got a power-packed evening. We have Cam, we have Gloria, and we have a special guest, Rachel Lee Ackerman. And I want to start by saying that last night the Republican Party took a shellacking. We had seats that we didn't win in New Jersey and Virginia, and we have the first Muslim communist mayor in New York City. So, what does this mean for the state of our nation? Scott Presler made a post last night that if the Republicans don't invest in these key swing states, we might lose in 2026 to a blue wave. And that is something that President Trump and our supporters, the GOP, have been working to maintain to keep the strength of the Republican Party forefront. But speaking with many people who aren't in the GOP but are Republicans, they're saying that they feel that the president may be mismanaging the message on the shutdown, which is why it's driving people to go out and vote the way they did last night. So, you guys who are listening, this is a serious problem that we have to talk about. And Cam, we've discussed this before. The group, you guys are pretty educated. So last night, we saw in New York City the first Muslim communist mayor who's 34 years old. And this morning on MSN Now, AOC was on saying that this is the template for us to win seats and mayors across the country. Cam, what do you think about that?
I think you're right. I think messaging is what is going to beat those swing states. If the GOP, if they don't start stepping up and start talking about messaging of what the values of the Republican Party is, we're gonna lose. And I think kind of like what happened with New Jersey, what happened with New York, it's gonna be a tough one.
It's certainly hard. Scott Presler, we had him here in Norman 2 years ago to discuss precinct strategy. And Rachel, you've been interviewing a lot of candidates lately on your own page. Have any of them discussed their strategy at the precinct level and what they're saying about this? I mean, you're out there. I know you're out there. So have you had any conversations about what happened last night?
We haven't really got into that since it's so new as of last night. But the thing I keep thinking, it's shocking to me that it's been what, 20 years since 9/11, and what if you thought 20 years ago they'd be electing a Muslim socialist communist guy as the mayor of New York City? Crazy.
No one would have thought. And don't forget, we kind of grew up in the aftermath of 9/11. That was for us a traumatic event because everybody here on the show knows exactly where they were on 9/11. Now, Gloria, where were you at 9/11? Do you agree with that last night was a disaster for Virginia and New Jersey? Certainly a disaster for New York City.
I was in GK, Germany, Geilenkirchen, Germany, at the NATO base when 9/11 happened. And, it really was shocking and sad. And we we realized right then and there what terrorism looked like and what happened to the NATO base and how fast they reacted. They shut our back gate down, which was really fast for me to get my kids to school, but I had to drive an hour to the front gate. So while it was good that we reacted the way we did, but it also caused delays in a lot of things. And I think having a communist for a governor is really going to destroy New York, but they deserve it.
You know, I saw a post on X this morning that the last American leaving, grab the flag on your way out. And it is so true that my problem with New York City is that the Republicans have given away and allowed the Democrats to basically run the city into the ground. In fact, most Republicans and sane, level-headed Democrats have left to Florida or different states. Now, what's left, and this is the bad part about socialism and Marxism, is that when the rich people leave, the poor people, they're there to suffer. And maybe they have to go through this in order to see why they made a mistake in voting this guy here, because he cannot fiscally provide everything he promised to, and it was all a show just to get him elected. Now, I'm Rashard Tortorello, and if you guys hear the background noise, we have a whole house full of Turning Point OU students here to help put baggies together. We've done this with them earlier this year to put campaign messages, and basically we have 4,000 newly registered Republicans. And their job is to take these baggies, take the list, and go and introduce themselves and pass it and basically say, hey, welcome to the Republican Party. Here's the calendar of elections, and here's who's running in your district. And this is how we engage with Turning Points. You know, this is the future of the Republican Party. And I've always said that we need to bring in the young people, just like Charlie Kirk did, because if not, we're gonna be a dead old white people party, and we can't have that. So every time we have an opportunity to invite them over to the house to put these baggies together and just to talk and talk politics here, they crave this, and the young people are the future of the Republican Party. So I am flying to DC in a couple weeks, and hang on, I thought I put it on Do Not Disturb. And I saw a story yesterday that I'm working on that the TSA agents and air traffic controllers aren't being paid because of the government shutdown. So I have a source that works at the FAA, and I asked the question: active duty military, retirees, and Social Security recipients will always receive their pay. But I was told that FAA air traffic controllers, the personnel on the ground, TSA, have not been paid since the government was shut down. Gloria, I mean, for people who travel, this is a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, Gloria.
I, for one, my microphone didn't want to work. I thought my voice was going out. I have traveled all my life, and so I have to have TSA agents working because I never want to be stuck at an airport with those people. You know who I'm talking
Those
about.
people.
Do you know there were witch hunters out there looking for people wearing MAGA hats and wearing like my red hat that says just relax, it's a red hat. They were looking for people like that. I couldn't imagine a very dear person of ours has moved to another country
Right.
because of the policy of TSA agents right now. They're overworked and underpaid. And now that they're not being paid at all, why would they want to work?
Look, they're truly
Our
Americans.
politicians are getting paid.
Well, look, the TSA agents, air traffic controllers, they are patriots. I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican because they're continuing to work without pay. Now, I fly all the time and I use Clear and I just go through the lines. But when traveling, I've been stuck in DC wearing the same suit for 2 days, and it's not fun when they're having a pilot shortage and a strike and rain at the same time. Rachel, do you travel a lot, and do you go to Clear, or do you just wait in line like everybody else?
I'm my husband gets so annoyed at me because he's got TSA pre-check and I do not, so he always has to wait on me, which drives him crazy. But I've got two little kids, so unless I'm traveling alone, I'm not traveling with my kids right now with the government shutdown affecting everything. Not gonna happen.
Well, for those that have to travel for work, like myself, I'm dreading getting on that plane. I'll be there for a week, and I choose not to be there for 2 weeks. So, Cam, you're the government employee. Are you still receiving your paycheck?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're one of the few.
So, how do they make the determination? So, why are you receiving a paycheck and not somebody else that's down the hallway? So, my FAA friends, they show up to work and they're not getting paid. You show up to work and you're getting paid. So what's the government formula that they're using?
So it depends on how the budget is passed from the Senate and the House into the different departments. So some the job series are considered some of them exempt. Some of them are considered accepted, and some of them are just furloughed. So it depends on where your budget for your department lies is how you get paid. So right now, what's going on? We have 900,000 people who are furloughed and 2 million federal workers who have been affected from the Senate not passing the budget. So the sad part about this is that people think that it's President Trump who is doing this. And in the Senate floor, if you hear it, everybody's blaming, when I say them, the Democrats are blaming Trump, when in reality is the Democrats who don't want to come together with the Republicans. So civic lesson
Now,
of the day.
do you think it's weak leadership in the Senate? So the House has got their stuff together. Okay, it's not the House. So what do we do about the Senate, Rachel? I mean, who in the
Well,
Senate has the balls to whip up the vote? Because it can't be Johnson. He's taking care of the House. So we have no leaders in the Senate whipping up those votes and getting five Democrats to come in and vote.
I don't know about that, but did you hear that Senator Langford had proposed a bill that would make them all stay there, the Senate, 7 days a week, only working on appropriations until they got this solved like adults? I think it's a great idea. I absolutely think we need to implement something like that. This is crazy.
I tell you what, they're getting paid to the shutdown, and they should not receive a paycheck. All right,
Nope.
Agree.
we have people, we have people who don't have the means, but they're still coming to work, have not been paid in over 30 days. And I just heard tonight through another source that if this is not taken care of by the 15th of this month, that active duty military may not receive their paychecks. And that has never happened in the history, as far as I know, that the military never received their paycheck in a government shutdown. Cam, I know you're a veteran. I mean, can you imagine not having money to pay your bill? You're still getting up every day to go to work to defend this country, like ICE is too. I'm going to put ICE in it too. They have not been paid since the shutdown. But not to receive a paycheck on the 15th? What the hell is happening with our country? The Democrats own this.
Yeah, no, think
Absolutely.
about the simplicity of being an E2, E3, or even an E4
Excuse me.
who has a family, has a mom, you have a wife, children, and then you can't pay your bills. Whenever you get that reenlistment coming up because you're active duty and you're trying to figure out what you want to do, retention rate is going to drop. And unfortunately, right now we're getting a lot of new recruitment into
Mm.
our Department of Defense or the Department of War. But with this, if I was back in the Navy, I will be thinking twice about, do I? It's October, November. When am I going to get paid to pay my bills? Because bills don't wait.
You know, you remember Eddie Murphy and in that first movie he did? And what remind me, Rachel, what was the name of the movie that Eddie Murphy played in, where he played that down and out guy that was given this whole new life and money, where he was saying that, On Christmas Day, it's going to be a disaster when you can't get your kids like the GI Joe with the stretchy arms. You know, it's going to be a disaster when we got Thanksgiving around the corner, and you got Christmas next month, and you got New Year's. This is the time people start to spend money and buy things. And Gloria, I think that if they're not paid, we can see a riot on our hands. I mean, it didn't happen last week, like they promised it would, but not being,
Right.
not having the ability to buy Thanksgiving dinner is going to hurt many Americans. And I just don't want them to spoil on Trump. What do you think?
I would agree with that 100%. I think
Something's got to be
that,
done.
right, well, right now what we're seeing, and this is happening, but our own Homeland grocery store said if you're in need and you're a SNAP person, then you need to come see us. I think that's commendable. Catholic Charities has stepped up. All the food pantries are stepping up. We're not going to have a problem in Oklahoma, but we're going to have people that are going to abuse it, just like they always do. So we're set up a little differently in Oklahoma to prepare for this kind of stuff and for this to happen. But we shouldn't have to be, right? Our government needs to get their shit together and come back to give people their money.
One thing about Oklahomans is that we all pitch in when we need help. And so the million
That's
dollars
right.
that our governor is promising to help supply food to the pantries is what we should be doing. But you know what? It can't be government run. It needs to be everybody. Look. If you've got a neighbor who's struggling, it's your duty
Help your
to go and check
neighbor.
on them, help them. We've done it through
Yes.
three tornadoes. Where we checked on our neighbors. One ice storm, we all looked out after each other. So if
Yep.
if, if you don't check on your neighbors and you know they might be struggling, at least knock on the doors and say, "Hey, we got some things you might need. Anytime you want, come over here."
But
That is what.
there's a
That is
there's a
why.
caveat to that though.
What
There's a caveat to that because did you hear just a couple days ago there was a man that got shot through the door and he was an innocent UPS driver knocking on the door. So we have to be careful going door to door now because we don't know what's lurking behind it. We don't know what their mental state is, right? We don't know if they're on drugs. We don't know if they're an alcoholic. We don't know if they're mentally incapacitated or they're in a. People are going to be. They can't afford their medication, maybe, so therefore they're not going to take it. Because I think
I
people would
think
rather eat than take their medication.
I think it's a great
I'm,
opportunity for churches to really get with the community and help out.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, look. I'm not asking you to go door to door. If you know your neighbors, go and visit them. You
I
know, look,
I know
we
what
live
you're
in a good.
saying.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want you to go door to door with people you just don't know because I don't want to. I'd hate to be. I feel responsible if you
Hello.
got hurt.
Bam.
Yeah, boom. So, Rachel, you
That's
have
not
been
I'm not bragging on
interviewing.
that.
I know, I know. Rachel's been interviewing the majority of the governor candidates, several, maybe the lieutenant governors, both attorney general candidates. And I wanted to ask you, so in your discussions with everybody, can you share like the commonalities that they're saying with each other and what people are saying in the street after your video hits? Are they asking you questions like, here's what I saw this, and maybe next time you get them on, you ask them this. I think people are interested. I like your videos. They're informative. They're short form content,
Hmm.
and you really do ask the questions that are very engaging.
Well, thank you. The goal was my audience is soccer mom people. We don't have time for like these long interviews. We need short clips. We need it fast. We need it efficient. And so that was my goal doing these. I have to say I went shooting with Nicole actually. We had a fun interview at a shooting range and I him he's got that it factor, uh smart man. I love his wife Stephanie. She has an incredible story. I'll let you go on my Instagram, listen to her tell it. Um, I reached out to Gittner's office. They had asked for the interview questions ahead of time. I sent those, and they never got back to me on anything. So take that for what you will. Um, Macy, Macy impressed me so much. I think he's the underdog, and I think he's going to surprise people soon. Chip Keating, I have met him in person. He had just launched his campaign. They're kind of figuring things out, I think, right now. So hopefully I'll talk with him soon. But those are the governor candidates right there that I've talked to at least.
So are they sharing any commonality, anything, any shared goals or vision for the state? I mean, so people like, have you talked to Jake Merrick, for example? So he's got a whole slew of things, but I'm more interested. I think we're more interested in what they're saying that's the same on what they want to do for Oklahoma as a whole. Are you seeing
Yeah,
like a common thread?
I think education is huge because I mean we were ranked 50th in the country, That's a big one. I think the no income tax in our state is a huge goal for all of them. I think some of them have better ideas than others on that. Um, but yeah, I would say education is probably the number one priority of all of them.
Okay, what was that again? You cut out.
Can you hear me? I would say education is probably the number one issue right now for voters and candidates.
Are you hearing any conversations about DHS?
I have not.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm Rashard Tortorello, executive editor of City News America, and you are listening to the Patriot Sentinel. And we have a house full of TPUSA college students. Hey guys, say hello to the world. You're live. These guys are awesome. So
That's great.
last week, October 31st, if you don't know anything about State Question 836, or open primaries. You might be living in a rock, or you just don't care. So they started gathering signatures on Halloween night, and as far as I know, they are around about 15 counties collecting signatures. And so the GOP has started a campaign, a public relations campaign, to go out and educate Republicans not to sign. And so we are working with OCPA, and it's a decline to sign. So what people don't understand about the open primaries, my issue is that we are targeting Republicans, especially those that aren't plugged in like we are, and the older ones, because I don't want good Republicans to sign it not knowing what they're signing. And for those of you who are not following, open primary, they're trying in Oklahoma. The Republican Party has a closed primary, which means only Republicans can participate in our primary. The Democrats in Oklahoma, theirs are open, and anybody, including independents, can participate in their primary. What I'm saying, and what the majority of people who are concerned about this, is that it's a Trojan horse, allowing Democrats and independents to pick the weakest Republican candidate in a district. And it's so crucial now to have this conversation that I did ask Rachel to do a video, and we have been giving scripts to people on easy do tasks for their social media, easy reel creation, and at this point, the school of thought is that we are only reaching out to those Republicans and advocating that they just don't sign the petition. Okay, so their petition ends
Excuse
for
me.
signature gathering on the first week of January. And we hope they don't get the signatures, because then we have a whole new battle to fight through November of making sure people show up in November to vote no. And so I thought you did a great job, Rachel. We use this video as a training video, but I'm going to show it here, and we want more people to create these videos, because the more outreach that we have, the more we educate folks, the more they're able to have those conversations with their friends, family, neighbors. Now, we don't want to make it difficult. And Gloria can get into that because she told me what happened last Saturday at a District 5 meeting. And Cam, you've been following this. And Rachel, you did a wonderful video with just the stuff I gave you. And we can show if we can show people how to do this, that's all we need to do. I don't want you going out in the streets and arguing with anybody. Do not argue with the petition gatherers. You're there to talk in your neighborhood, in your church, the people you know that are good people. Do not sign 836. So let me go ahead and run this real quick.
Have you heard of state question 836? At first, it sounds good. Open primaries. You can vote for whoever you want. But let me explain why this is a little more complicated than it first sounds. Under state question 836, you could actually end up with just two Democrats or just two Republicans on the final ballot, meaning that one party in the state doesn't even get a choice in the general election. State question 836 doesn't make things more fair. It favors whichever party has fewer candidates and the candidate that has the biggest name recognition. So I'm simply asking my friends, should state question 836 make it to the ballot? Please vote no. Remember this, just nix state question 836.
I like
Good
that.
job.
Nick,
Just nix
state question.
836. Good job.
I, I love that. Gloria, what do you think? With
I
that?
loved it. Yeah, I think I love it. It's catchy because just nix 836. But
So
I
do you
want to
think the
say
state?
something. I was just looking on Oklahoma United, Better Choices, Better Government, and it says that the proposed state question needs 173,000 signatures. But they can't just get the signatures in Oklahoma and Tulsa County alone. They got to go to every county.
Well, they
You know
won
what
their
that means?
injunction. Well, they won their injunction against 1027. Okay, so they're
Right.
not held to that anymore. So they can go do whatever they want until that is
Yep.
overruled. They can continue to take dark money. They can continue to bring in out-of-state canvassers, and that was the whole reason behind 1027 was to spread out and make you go get 25% of the counties in Oklahoma to campaign in. And so now that they're not under the restrictions, Cam, I think they're just going to stick to three or four biggest
Right.
counties in Oklahoma.
So I was gonna give Rachel feedback. That was a great video, straight to the point. Great job. Uh,
Thank you.
the message is there, and I think that if you're gonna share a video, this is a very important video that you could spread around with everything. Now with 836, again, if you're talking about Constitution, the first amendment of our Constitution, that's going to take us away from that if 836 passes. So that means that if you believe to be in the Republican Party, then that takes you away. It's just a bunch of people just running for one position. So again, I disagree. It's a lack of representation.
Rachel, what do you think about it so far? I mean, so I've only given you the materials for the last week, and you did a great video. So, what are your thoughts on 836? And are you sharing the video with your friends and family and neighbor? Are you having
I
this
do.
conversation?
Yeah, it's on my social media, and that's kind of my platform where I talk to people, my political views. I think 836 it tricks people because you think it sounds good. Open primaries, more choice. That's what people are selling it as. And for
Hmm.
people who are big, are not really involved in politics, they don't know the details behind it. And so that's I think people like us, our job who are more involved and we know what's really going on. We know what it's actually trying to do. We have to educate people and we have to educate them fast. They don't have time to sit down and listen for hours about something.
True. People's mind, it's about 15 minutes, but nowadays it's 15 seconds. Gloria, you called me last Saturday, and you had made a statement about how you were explaining 836 to that CD5 meeting you were at. Can you kind of share that with us again?
Oh my goodness. Hang on. That was a, I have to think real quick. The Trojan horse comment.
Yes.
Okay. So
Your
the way
camera's
I
off. Hey,
explain, am I, the way I explain state question 836, it's a Trojan horse designed to weaken conservative leadership and confuse voters. That's really what. that's really what State Question 836 does. It's designed to confuse the voters. Whether you align with independents, Democrats, or Republicans, it doesn't matter, or a libertarian, but it's going to confuse all the voters, and that's what they want to do. That's the way they get what they want.
Look, I agree. The message is still the same. Whether or not you say it like a Trojan horse or Rachel, you can have two Democrats or two Republicans on the same ticket. We have to find the message and meet these voters where they're at. That's why we have the flyers, we have the talking points, and it's not that you should consume your time with 836, but it'll come up. The more press they get, don't forget they've had almost 11 months of earned media attention, and
Yep,
they're beating us. And I hate to say that we're late, but you and I and three other folks met with OCPA earlier this year, and what did I tell them? Remember what I said? I said that they are not going to wait on the adjudication process on the lawsuit at the Supreme Court, and they're not going to wait about 1027. They're going to go out now and pre-position everybody in certain key
they did.
counties ready to
They
collect
did.
signatures. And I hate to say I
Yep,
told you so, but I told you so. It is frustrating that we're
yep,
catching up when we could have been in the lead. Now, 837 recreational marijuana did not make the signatures, and so there's a good opportunity, good chance that 836 will fall short. But we can't count on that. We got to make sure that people know
no,
not to sign this petition because it's a disaster. If 836
it
makes it on the
is.
ballot, I'm going to make a prediction. The way the state of the nation is, and if we're not working together and finding good Republican candidates, and we stop the fighting, the internal fighting, 836 passes in November, God forbid, it takes one election cycle, Cam, and that's it. We're done. The GOP is done with after one election cycle. Do you agree or not?
So look what happened in California. How many years has California been a blue state, and they haven't got out of it? So do you really think that California is going to turn red anytime soon? So that's
No,
like you said, if we don't pay attention, if leadership doesn't start stepping up, if our candidates, whether you're running for governor or for uh, the education, you should be able to advocate and talk about how 836 is gonna uh, just not help the voters, in my opinion.
Right. It's a disaster. Hey, we're at the 30-minute mark, and we got you guys can do 30 seconds. We'll start with Rachel and go counterclockwise to Cam and Gloria. And Rachel, if you were stuck in an airport, 3 hour layover test at a bar, who would you rather have and spend time with? Governor candidate, lieutenant governor candidates, or attorney general?
Are you saying the current elected officials or candidate? I guess you said candidate. Like any
The
candidate?
candidates, any candidate.
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's not fair. I don't want to go first. I don't know. I don't know.
he doesn't
I
play
can tell
by
you,
the rules anyhow. So pick who you want.
I wouldn't want to be stuck with Drummond. I'll say that.
Cam,
Hey,
we
I
got
gotta
to
do a shout out to Larry Stein. I would love to be stuck in an airport with him because we would get one in trouble, and two, we would be laughing the whole entire time. So Larry Stein, he's the guy.
I would agree. Gloria,
Did it have to be local?
no, take all the fun
You
out of it, but
know,
no.
yeah, but how do you not love certain people? He's from Kentucky.
Just pick one. Who is it?
Kennedy.
Oh, Kennedy. I love that man.
What about you?
Well, out of all the candidates, we went to Chip Keating's launch party last week, and Frank and Kathy were always nice to me, pleasant people, and you know,
Yep.
out of all the candidates, I am friends with Charles, and the dude's funny. I mean, the talk of the town is still his banana commercial, and it was only meant to get viewers to tune into what he was saying, and that was a very
And
effective
it worked.
commercial
Brilliant.
to get people to tune into him, and and sex change and all that stuff has nothing to do with the governor at all, but it was funny, and the dude is a funny guy. He has he more hair product than I do, and we can certainly have a good time. And I think Larry Stein would be a close second. Um, he's a funny guy too as well, and we have choices. And this is not the only test, but um, I'm going to leave it at that. I want to shout out to our veterans. Next week is Veterans Day, and anybody who is currently serving, you have our
Amen.
respect. We have
My
myself. I'm a veteran.
That is
Cam is a veteran. um, Gloria, her father was a veteran, and Rachel's married to active duty guy. And without these soldiers, including women, this country would
that's
not be
right.
what it is here. And so we have a tribute that I want to play. And I thank everybody for coming on tonight.
Uh,
And we'll talk with you next week. So stand by.
Thank you for your service.
Amen.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, full of the fruit and plain. America, God sheds His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America.
That was beautiful.